Okay, we still got 1 minute to go. Any feedback before we start the class? There are 2 questions here. I will answer later. Okay, before the class. Okay, time's up. Please stand up. Please hold the palm. 1 palm to the Buddha. First position. Second position. Third position. 1 palm to the Buddha again. Okay, please stay a seat. Okay, please stay a seat. Okay, please hold the palm as normal. We decide the Guan Yin菩萨 send out for 10 minutes. 南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。 菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无 观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。Okay, please follow me. 南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。Okay. Okay, good morning, our brother and sister. Okay, before we start the class, please turn to your textbook, page 51. Page 51. Our friend, hello, Australian. We are just now doing the recite the Bodhisattva name. So if you do not know how to recite, just meditate. Close your eye for 10 minutes. That's usual, our very routine, usual practice. Then before we start the talk, we also pay respect to the Buddha. So we just recite his name for 3 times. So before to show the respect, just for your just for you to know. Okay, so before we start the talk, there are two or three questions here. Okay, so I make it a very quick one. Just explain to you. Now, as for the first question, he said, "May I know our ancestral tablets need for Buddhist practitioner?" First thing, do you know the ancestral tablet? This is actually the Chinese custom, the tradition, very traditional way of doing, to pay the respect, to remember the past one, something like that. So in fact, in the not only Buddhist temple, even in Taoist temple, it's a very common practice. Even in this lodge, Buddhist lodge, right? Those people pass away, they put a tablet, then they indicate their name, whether those deceased ones, something like that. There are many ways to do it, but of course, if according to the true Dharma, right, you talk about emptiness, detachment. In fact, some people can't be bothered, to have this one, just burn the body, just throw into the sea. There are few ways of, doing, whether you throw into the sea, or you just bury under the tree, especially in Beijing. Although in China, they are a very big country, but having said that, even in Beijing, because they are, in terms of populations, every day so many people pass away, die. So they actually due to the scarce land also because of the space. So they another kind of way of doing is they put the kind of ashes under the tree, very under the tree. We call 树葬 in Chinese, right? So there are a few ways. Like Singapore, there's a place at the north or northeast. They have near the seaside or something like that, so you can spray the ashes, because there are the government got some restriction, because that area they fence off, for this purpose. You can never anyone throw into the sea because cause the pollution, something like that. Now, if you according to the true Dharma, talk about emptiness, detachment, if you dare to do it, you don't need the tablet. My student, I told you before, the husband passed away due to the dementia. You know what she do? She told me calm emptiness. But I think not many people will do it, because if you do it, you will get scolded by your relative or whatever. Say, how can I do it? Must pay some respect in terms of filial piety or something like that. So, she told me, say, once they burn the body, all throw away. So no tablet, nothing. And just imagine, not only the youngster, they don't worship to the tablet anyway. Anymore, right? Because they are very modern way of doing. Some people are Christian, Catholic. Of course they don't believe in that. So, according to her, she said just throw everything away, no tablet, nothing. But you dare to do it. Of course, this is by right the right way to do it. So it's up to you. All right, upaya, flexible. If you need a tablet, but do it in the simple way, because tablet also very expensive. Depend on individual temple. Very costly. I don't know how much Buddhist thought you need to pay, Even for Bright Hill Temple, right? There were different prices. And they call it freehold. They use a mundane term. You know freehold? Just like buying the property, freehold, 60 years, whatever. Our friend, do you know that from Australian? Freehold, I use a mundane word. You can put the tablet forever. Nobody can touch. And your next generation, they may not be interested to worship to the tablet anymore. So it's very difficult to solve the thing. So nowadays, the Buddha temple, they change already. No freehold. Like Singapore, you want to find the freehold one. If you want to buy the condo here near the river valley, for you to convenient to come to, no, you don't want to buy anymore. You know that Singapore, he's very smart. Yeah, you are very smart. So you're so cheated by property agent, But of course, those expats or whatever, from other country, they came over to Singapore, they buy the properties. They usually, especially Chinese people, from China, they're very rich. They have a sort of investment. You know what they buy, the area they buy? Sentosa Cove. Where not? Sentosa, nice. Can see the sea, everything. Here, all flat. Surrounded by the flat, not surrounded by the mountain. So this is another way. So, anyway, even for here now, they know freehold. I think they change to 60 years, 30 years, 50 years, something like that. And that based on different price, because which one are you prefer? Something like that. So, it's up to you. You don't want to have any tablet in terms of emptiness, in terms of detachment, you dare to do it, go ahead, no problem. But mentally must prepare. You don't get scolded by somebody, then you change your mind. Something like that. Okay? So this is called tablet. So you just kind of pay the respect, whatever. So doing the simple, some people say, must put at the center, must put underneath, or must put beside the Buddha. Why? So Buddha, no. We're taking more care of your tablet, no such thing. And if you put the tablet near the toilet, or $50 Sing dollars, or free of charge, something like that. So you don't go and judge, to kind of differentiate, in terms of the location, the place you put. So some people can be, you have to pay for the high price, very, very costly, actually. So if you ask me, wow, it's up to you. I don't want to suggest anything. Otherwise, you go to the temple and say, this Venerable told me I don't put the tablet. Then they depend on tablet for the income. Then they say, don't put the tablet. Then, no income. Then you not get scolded by your relative. I get scolded by them. But talking about this one, the abbot or the sangha of the temple shouldn't handle the money. That recently happened in China. Right? They don't talk about calamity. I tell you what is happening in China. So now, like me, if you want to go to China, dangerous, people look at you, they throw something at you. Horrible, all those sangha, you broke the precepts, whatever. So this is actually, affect the kind of reputation of Buddhism, the image. That one, another thing, we'll talk about it later. So, okay, the first question, this is what I say, it's up to you. You can put the tablet. If you do a tablet, do you need to spend so much money? You should spend more money on doing the donation, charity, helping the poor. That should be the way. Just a temple, you are so rich. Singapore very good, actually. They try to minimize the corruption, right? If you have so much money, then you must know how to spend. Like Waterloo Street, like Buddhist Lodge, they do have a bursary, helping the poor, everything, right? You count money all from all the Buddhists all over, also life, the money have to go to everybody. Why not? Not inside your pocket. Even for Sangha, monk and nuns, the same thing. They are just human beings. They are not the Buddha. He is the Buddha, I'm not a Buddha. But you always assume monk, nun is a Buddha. That's why you are cheated by them. That's why in Buddhism talk about wisdom. Correct not? Must be smart. Don't so stupid. Correct not? Okay, number 2. Why high-ranking Buddhist monks? High-ranking. Using the corporal, officer, captain, major. We call senior monk, or senior nuns. Or Fa-si called Venerable, in Pali, so Bande, kind of respect how they address them. Now, I also often have ashes or relics and shrine in the pagoda. Pagoda just as stupa, That actually, in Myanmar or Thailand, and we compare with in China, the shape, how they fabricated, construct the pagoda is a different shape. Okay, but anyway, what's the purpose of pagoda? It just again to show the kind of respect, remember, to the high monks when they attain nirvana or pass away, So the ashes they put inside there, something like that. So China got 8-story one, 6 stories, all depend. If you go to historical temple in China, you can see a lot of pagodas in different shapes, or wow, our friend from Brisbane, if you're interested, can visit there. But that's the purpose for pagoda, right? Because stupa in Sanskrit or Pali. So this is the purpose they put the ashes there. But wow, if you ask me, if everything emptiness, in fact, what is the point? Right now, but of course, people show the kind of respect, And do they have ancestral tablet as well? Yes, they do. They do. Some even in Singapore, some monk pass away or nun pass away. Because their own temple, they put a tablet there, so easier for people to go to the temple to put the respect or their disciples, something like that, their followers. Anyway, so these are the 2 questions. And the third one is just now before the class, there's a old Bodhisattva asked me, in terms of burning the chopstick, chopstick, 烧香. Okay, I tell what is the Buddhist way of doing it. The chopstick is actually passed down. Joystick. Well, sorry. Maybe she's very alert, good. She's not sleeping. She's not go to, last time went to the party and have a vaping, the people. And go, this morning, this paper came out, some people, nowadays the youngster. Now anyway, the chopstick, actually in China, chopstick. In China, it's actually practiced by those Taoists. But if you see in India, because Buddhism from India, so in India, people don't do that because they just hold the palm. And the old lady asked me, say, I thought hold the palm is to say hello, but I told her, say, this is a Buddhist way of doing it, If you don't burn the one, you just hold the palm and pay the respect. You come here or go to any temple, we'll do. That's the best way, actually, you do need to burn. And you want to burn that one, they say one is a simple one, whether you pay the respect to the spiritual God or Buddha or Bodhisattva. 2, I told you before, right? 2 is for those deceased one, people pass away. I think there's no such thing because actually, by Chinese people, they say, this should be the way. So they just pass down, so they just inherited, follow the way what they do. And 3 is a full one, full stand means 3, whether pay the respect to the Buddha or to the spiritual God. Okay? So actually not necessary. If you come to the Buddhist law, you just don't need to buy the one. You must have use the money to help the poor, helping the poor. Okay? And you must know the purpose of burning that one. Also incense paper. Of course, we do burn incense paper. Okay, back to the textbook. Page 51. Now the 7 calamities, that means nan, qi nan in Chinese. Calamities. The 7 of them, of course the first one is fire. Later I'll explain to you the fire. Calamity, fire. You see the introduction, page 51. With this passage, Shakyamuni Buddha begins to explain specific ways that Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is capable of interceding. Alright, of interceding. So the first group consists of 7 different dangers, together known as the 7 calamities, Chinese called qi nan. You encounter the kind of very risky, environment or condition. So they are fire, flood, windstorm, weapons, evil spirit, imprisonment. That means chain out, imprisonment. Please stay a seat, sister. You can find any chair. And brigands. Dao, 偷盗, stealing the thing in Chinese. So these are the 7. These are the 7. Now, before we explain it, we know the human beings are made up of 5 aggregates, according to Buddhists, 5 aggregates, 5 skandha, 5 yin, okay? According to Buddhist explanation. But in general, you say human is actually made up of body and mind. Right? That's a simple way. Body and mind, 身心 in Chinese. Body and mind. Okay? Mind is more spiritual one, which cannot see in your naked eye, but it's not a soul according to Buddhism. The body is a kind of a material thing, forms, you can see like table, you can touch it, you can feel it. So when you talk about calamities, the 7 obstacles mentioned in the textbook, so it's something to do with our human right, because we encounter the kind of a dangerous thing, whether typhoon, windstorm, and just now you talk about flood, or fire, and so on and so forth. So it's something to do with these two, because these two make up of human being. Okay? But having said that, Buddhism more focus on this one, mind, mental issue. That's why I talk about cultivate the Dharma, how to get rid of the problems. The problem not only encounter something, our body facing the kind of threat, but rather than the mind, that's what cause the mental defilement or affliction. Okay? And that, because mind, according to reason, is a main CPU, main controller. We talk about 3 wholesome net, right? Physical action, so it's called sen. Verbal speech, ko. Mental, yi. Right? So we talk about cultivation. In terms of cultivation, we talk about cultivation in terms of these 3, to purify these 3: body, physical action, verbal speech, and mental issue. You see, nowadays a lot of people got mental issue. In Singapore called IMH, right? Institute of Mental Health, because of mental issue. Of course, in Buddhism, they focus on this one, because mental issue will cause the affliction, 烦恼. So before we explain it further, so we must know the principle behind, right? Not just talk in terms of how to get rid of body, we are facing a lot of problem. Not only that, but most importantly is the mental issue, according to this sutra. In fact, for all the sutra also, the Buddha teaching, right? We say cultivating our mind, to purify our mind, right? Because our mind is very scattered, thinking about here and there, easily influenced by the external world. Okay? So you must have a pure mind. 静心, pure mind, okay? So at least you know the principle here. So not only body, just like I talk about the fire. In fact, nowadays, newspaper came out, recently 2 incidents happened in Toa Payoh, right? Toa Payoh caused a fire and somebody dead. But of course, due to because short circuit or whatever, they are still under investigation. But this fire, not just on the surface, you see the fire, according to here. But the fire here in terms of our hot temper, just a fire burning. Wow, just like now the weather so hot. Oh, I feel like very agitated, frustration, the kind of thing, right? Fire, hot temper, fire. But this hot temper fire, this will cause your health problems, okay? It cause a high blood pressure and so on and so forth. Okay? So, of course, we didn't talk about meditation, teach you how to calm down, kind of things or whatever. Stress, some people stress, too much stress. If you go into the extreme, anything go to the extreme, and this is not good already, right? Buddhism talk about middle path, how to have a balancing in your life, Sometimes enjoy your life a little bit, sometimes don't always suffer, don't always enjoy, these are the 2 extremes. Okay? Just like weather. Singapore weather generally quite moderate. You say hot few days, then rain, Some people, country, just like Australia, got 4 seasons, one. Cold can be very, very cold, just enjoy. Hot can be very, very hot, and hot for 3 months or hot for 2 months, this is called summer. Then come to the autumn, then come to the winter, right? Singapore, some people say, 365 years all the same. So very dark, very boring, no entertainment, something like that. And recently people asked our Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, he said Singapore very small and very boring because nothing to go, very small only, no place to have entertainment, enjoyment, something like that, But our Prime Minister said, wow, but at least, we are safe, the plan is there, everything. So it depends what you want. You want to go for a tour? Australia. You want to stay here? Singapore. Right? Some people say safe, everything. It's true, a lot of countries not safe enough, Just like you dare to go to New York. They have a tariff, everything, So, so a lot of problem, right? Social problem. Okay, back to here. Okay, can you see the first one? So this is called fire. But of course, when fire happen, some people due to our carelessness, you forgot to switch off the switch or short circuit, or you charge the whatever thing, you forgot to switch off, then it cause a fire. Then how can you blame Buddha to bless you or whatever? Right? So some can be prevented, certain things happen by your own effort, due to help by the Buddha or Bodhisattva. These are the small things. Okay? But in terms of hot temper fire, yeah, you need the cultivation, you need the Buddha teaching to control your temper, everything. Correct or not? So this one religion come in. This one religion come in. Okay? Now, so you see the first one, calamity of fire. If you see the verse, if anyone who upholds the name of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva were to fall into a great fire, the fire will be unable to burn that person due to the Bodhisattvas or inspiring spiritual power. Do you think you were blessed by the Bodhisattva and make sure the fire extinguished or whatever? Now, this fire, how come cause the fire? Yeah, sometimes it's beyond your control one, right? Because I didn't do anything, I make sure I switch off the switch, but something due to your carelessness. And this carelessness is your action, because of your action. And this is called karma. In Buddhism, it's called karma, right? Sanskrit, we say karma. Yeah. And you know that in Buddhism, karma, spiritual power cannot override karma. Cannot override karma. If karma, then we need the wisdom to counteract. Okay? But of course, in order to generate wisdom, you need cultivation, right? Cultivate the Dharma. So therefore, karma, spiritual powers cannot override the karma. But probably can be minimize everything, but not totally get rid of the karma. Something like that. Okay? So you can say something caused fire, you recite the name, everything will be just disappear. Not necessarily, no. Also depends how serious your karma. Sometimes you see that those Taoist temple, they burn everything, burn because cause fire burn, and even the statue also burn. It says they're supposed to prevent the statue being burned, right? Because of caused by fire, but also burn. Why? So spiritual power cannot override the karma. Something like that. Okay? Okay, so according to the passage, if someone who holds firmly to the name of this Bodhisattva, Avalokitesvara, were to find themselves in the fire, no matter how big, they may not fear being burned, right, by it, because of the Bodhisattvas or inspiring spiritual power. Now, of course, you try to try to save us, to minimize the thing, Next paragraph. So specifically, the passage describes one who uphold the names. That's why we recite the name Nam Mô观世音菩萨, something like that. The Chinese character 慈, English called uphold. Chinese called 慈菩萨圣号. If you know Chinese, then you uphold the names. You recite the name very often. You make it just as your homework. Morning 5 minutes, evening 5 minutes, whatever. It's up to you, because you are lay people. Due to work, you got no time. We stress on quality rather than quantity. Even 5 minutes, we are so focused, also very effective. If you are not focused, then even you chant, recite the name for 1 hour, useless, back to zero. Okay? So stress on quality, not quantity, especially people like you, because you need to work. If you need to work, you got no time. Okay? So before you go to work, you got time, then probably 5 minutes, few minutes, no problem, make it a habit. Then you come back, okay, before go to bed, another few minutes, So make it a habit. So when somebody pass away, before they pass away, because they do their homework, normally. So they need to depend on those practitioner or follower to chant for them. Don't they? So when you pass away, you go already. You want to go to Pure Land? Go. You have a vow to go to Pure Land. Although the body is lying in the coffin, but the consciousness gone. Left already. And recently people ask me whether 8 hours cannot move the body or not. That's depend on individual. Some people say when people pass away, you have to wait for 8 hours. After 8 hours, then you can move the body. You say if not, they feel pain. I say if they feel pain, it means they are not dying, no? Because you got the feeling, no? You say, oh, I feel very pain, something like that. Okay? So actually you can move the body, you don't need to wait for 8 hours. Again, up to you, up to individual. Okay, so this uphold means to hold firmly, do, or mindfully maintain something. Next page. So one who upholds the name, recite it single-mindedly with a devout reverence. That means with the respect, then recite the name. So if we hope to escape from any sort of calamity, then we must believe in Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, his spiritual powers, and his merit. Right? So without such faith, it is hard to obtain the Bodhisattva's intercession. It's just like recite the name and you lack of confidence. You say, are you sure Guanyin菩萨coming or not? Guanyin菩萨can solve me, will help me, will save me, something like that. You say in doubt. You are in doubt, that means you lost confidence. Just like for those Christian people, I believe in God. I strongly believe in God because I know God will bless me. And I know that I believe in God according to the Bible, I will go to the heaven. Correct or friend? Yeah, this is what they believe. So belief is actually common to all the religions. Just like in Buddhism, we also, emphasize a lot of belief. But in Buddhism, we talk about true belief. Right? True. True belief. Through analyzing, investigation, and so before we accept it, so we are not superstitious. But some people practice in the superstitious way. Burning the incense paper house, this and that. That one is not Buddhism. That one is Taoism. But having said that, you will see very often in the Buddhist temple as well. So this is not the true way of doing it, Okay. Next paragraph. So the 7 calamities each describe external dangers. These are external dangers. Internal danger in terms of fire, in terms of hot temper, right? Fanao due to affliction. But of course you need Dharma to come in. The medicine of Dharma, right? Just a medicine. So, but these dangers occur in our mind. That to just I told you before, right? Mind, body and mind. External danger is body. Your body cause danger, threaten your life, something like that. But mind in terms of internal in terms of hot temper, just like fire burning. Right? So, for example, the calamity fire can be likened to the fire of danger. The sutra of the teaching that be created by the Buddha state, right, according to this sutra, as for the harm done by anger, just like you show your hot temper due to anger, 生气, right? It can destroy all positive karma, just like because due to your anger, your hot temper, then you scold the vulgar words and you kill somebody just because due to that time that occasion you have a hot temper, then whatever your merit you cultivated all go to the drain. Because you kill somebody, you have a kind of a bad karma, so 1 minus 1 equal to 0. Even worse, you have a still negative sign. You have to pay more, pay back. So everything gone. Okay? So hot temper actually very important. You see those people, very calm one, at least you got time for you to think. Hot temper due to the impulse, so impulsive. Then you scold people, you done something wrong, then you start to regret. But too late. So in Chinese, you always say that, think before you do. But now we do before we think, the other way around. So this is called impulsive, 冲动嘛. You done already, then you start to regret. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. Then too late already, because done already. In Singapore, it says sorry, no cure, no? Due to hot temper, you give people a slap. Then you start to regret. I shouldn't slap you. But people already slap by your hand, you slap, I feel the pain already. Although you say sorry, but sorry, no cure. In front of you, I can say, I accept your apology, but I hurt. Correct now? You hurt me already, or something like that. You scold me, you hurt me already. Then you say sorry. That's why you always say sorry, no cure. Right? So, positive karma, destroy all positive karma and ruin one's good reputation. Okay? So people will turn away from you in this life and in future life. No, this life, but future life as well. So clearly understand that the mind of anger is worse than the fierce fire. 传这个火烧功德林啊 ，will burn all the fire will burn all the forest, myriad forest， 火烧功德林。So wherever you cultivate the Dharma, wherever you help as a volunteer, wherever you done a lot of charity work, all become zero. So wasting your time, right? So it's the same thing. Now, so always be on guard against it and do not let it in. Okay, so don't just ignore, take things for granted. Oh yeah, hot temper, sometimes it's okay lah. Sometimes very angry or something like that. But the thing will accumulate. Just a husband and wife, right? Keep on quarrel. Small quarrel is nothing. As long as you don't call police to come, then it's okay. But you quarrel until police come already under investigation, go to the court, then a bit too late already. Sometimes, then eventually you have to divorce. So there must be a cause and effect one. So prevention better than cure. Correct or not? So always I tell the student, small quarrel, nothing. If you don't quarrel, abnormal. Small quarrel, normal. It's very normal. But big quarrel is very extreme already. Right? Okay. So anger is like an uncontrollable fire beyond our control, being carried by a fierce wind. Just like strong wind, sometimes fire cannot be stopped. Just like happened in California, in America, right? In Australia also, wildfire, the big, land oil, just burn. Then it take time to extinguish the fire because of strong wind, and sometimes it's beyond your control. They have to use a helicopter to spray the water to extinguish the fire. So now the weather very extreme. You see, weather can be very hot. I heard in other countries, those summer is very, very hot. In China also. So Singapore not too bad, no? 34, wow. If you hot and humid, you feel very uncomfortable. If hot, then you got some wind, then no problem. If hot, no wind, this is called humid, very humid, and very uncomfortable. Okay? Now, so in the same way, the Lotus Sutra. So what is the Lotus Sutra? Take a look here. They say this is the king of the sutra, but of course they're trying to emphasize that this is very important sutra, especially in Mahayana Buddhism. But in fact, all the sutra was spoken by the Buddha is considered all also important. Okay? It depends on individual. Wow, what kind of occasion Buddha give a sermon on particular certain sutra. So Chinese called Favachin Lotus Sutra in short. So the Lotus Sutra is a foundational Mahayana Buddhist text, right? So because they cover a lot, Mahayana or Theravada Buddhism. Now, so revered for its teachings on the universality of Buddhahood, because they emphasize the Buddha nature. Everybody possesses a Buddha nature, forcing, because potential enlightenment, everybody can become a Buddha. There's a possibility for everybody to become Buddha. Not like in Christianity or Catholic, other than Buddhism, they say believe in God. Although you can go to the heaven to see the God, but God is only one. God is only one, Almighty God. So forever God is number one, you are number two. So but in Buddhism, all can be number one. The position for all can be number one. Just like you work very hard, you earn more money, fair chances. You work very hard, you get the distinction. Right, the result. You distinction, next semester I work hard, I also can get distinction, right? Something like that. Okay, so, and the potential for all beings to attain enlightenment, just as I talk about Buddha nature. So it emphasizes that, Buddhahood, everybody can become Buddha, characterized by boundless compassion and wisdom. And this is a kind of a general principle cultivated by Bodhisattva, right? Compassion and wisdom, 悲智, the combination of compassion and wisdom. And as I told you, compassion is beyond love. Compassion is beyond love. Compassion is different from love. I love you, this moment I love you, next moment I hate you. So everything contrasts, But compassion is beyond two extremes, regardless of space and time, just like Guan Yin Pusa. Okay? So, compassion and wisdom is inherent within everyone and accessible through various skillful means. Of course, Upaya skillful means, especially in Mahayana Buddhism. Okay? So now back to your textbook. Just like Lotus Sutra, likens the world to a burning house. This is a very popular kind of analogy given here, given in the sutra. Caught in the fires of our affliction, 烦恼. Just I told you already, right? So the fires of anger do not lie outside, but are within our mind. More internal. Rather than see your house being burned by the fire, the one is external. You can see through your naked eye. But this fire, hot temper, is within our body, inside. So sometimes we didn't aware of it. We just ignore over it or whatever. So these are more important. It has something to do with the mental issue. Okay? So at the most severed, anger and hatred can provoke, right, hostility. Okay, just like now we talk about Thailand and Cambodia. Sometimes they, of course, besides they don't have a trust between the two, and sometimes also people anger, whatever. So you can see a lot of countries, the border problems. China and India, now Thailand and Cambodia, and of course Taiwan and China is not a border problem, but just across the street. But I think in the Western world, I think they are more kind of open and really want to solve. Just like West Germany, East Germany, the wall collapsed. So now they become one. North and South Korea, no. Very sensitive. They scared anytime the war will come. Right? The South was scared the North. That's why they need the American to protect them. Why not? So if you go to Seoul, South Korea, in the Renchuan airport, I went there once. Very funny, they have a special counter. It's not going to be manned by the customs officer by South Korea, but instead of that, it's manned by American soldier, American army, And of course, the American army, they are there, so they straight go to the counter. They didn't go to the South Korea, the ICA officer, immigration officer, They go to the counter by the army, American army, special for that, South Korea, So they are very much depend on America. That's why they have a negotiation tariff with Trump, he's somebody there, and cut down to 20%. The tariff? Singapore 10%, cannot be avoided. No more discount, cannot be bargained anymore. This is they say reciprocal tariff, right? 10% is minimum. In the world, 10% country like Singapore, United Kingdom, countries still pending. Ukraine, because of the war, pending. China, still negotiating, pending, don't know the rest. So all will be affected. Correct, our friend? That's why you don't buy the property. Unforeseen circumstances. No money, one thing. And all things are impermanent. Correct or not? Yeah. But I tell you, you should invest in Australia, because Australia, very big land, quite not very cheap. You buy the landed property in Australia, just as Singapore bungalow. Can buy 2 or 3 bungalow. He knocking his head. I didn't tell lie, I'm telling you the fact, Quite not, our friend. I swear, I didn't tell lie. Anyway, it must be in Buddhism talk about impermanent. Who know? Unpredictable, especially now in the world. Correct, unpredictable. You don't know what is going to happen. Correct, but you just like, don't care, try your best to do your things, work, sleep, travel. Just your friend come to Singapore, make sure you spend money in Singapore, then economy drive. So it's a win-win situation, right? Now, not only is this morally wrong, but it is spiritually damaging. The harm done by anger can destroy all the roots of goodness, as I say, the merit of fire, the forest. Next paragraph. So where do these fire come from? They arise from the attachment to the self. Attachment to the self, right? Seeking benefit of ourselves, but having pride in ourselves, because everything of yourself. Yeah. So you're too much attached to yourself. Everything because of ego, people very egoistic one, because of yourself. 你自己嘛 self-attachment 嘛 right? That's why Buddhism talk about no self. No self doesn't mean there's no physical body, because you don't focus too much on your body, yourself. Because our bodies depend on, according to Buddhism, depend on causes and conditions, 5 aggregates. So it's impermanent. One day everybody will die. There's no permanent one. Correct or not? So it's to treasure what we have in our present life, do more good things to benefit other people, because we are not staying alone in this world. We are interrelated, dependent on each other. Correct or not? I depend on you, you depend on me. That's why in the church they say brother and sisters, right? We are all under one big family. So in Buddhism, I also say in English and Buddhism, you say I also follow brother and sister. But in Chinese, you say all 师兄, all brother, no sister. Yeah. You know why? Do you know why? Next time I tell you. So, these are the fire come from, right? Like someone once asked the famous Chang master, Benkei. Benkei, this is a Japanese Zen master. So I have a bad temper by the nature and easily become anger. There's nothing I can do about it. Can't you please do something to cure me of this? As I say, because sometimes beyond your control, right? Anger, this kind of thing. Okay, next page. He said, oh, this is very strange. Then he replied, to be bad tempered by nature is even more interesting. So this old monk has never seen what a bad temper is like. So why don't you take it out and show it to me? They can have a dialogue. The Venerable, that is impossible. How can I possibly take it out? See, I tell you, to take it out, but you can't do so. So clearly this is not some inherent flaw, but because you cannot take it out. But arises from anger and hatred, so it must be a cause and effect. Why you show your anger, temper, hot temper? Because you anger and you hate somebody. And this is a cause. 这个是因嘛 Greed, hatred, ignorance, there are 3 poison in Buddhism, right? Next time we talk about 3 poison. So this reply stunned the questioner, and his bad temper never returned, right? Because reason is to realize that, Now, so fire flux, next paragraph, fire flux and other calamities are not limited to the tangible and the visceral. They can also be like the fires of anger that can burn within our breasts when we are insulted and humiliated by others. So you show your anger and whatever, something you don't like, you also show your hot temper. Sometimes the parents angry with the children, show the temper, hot temper, beat you or something like that. But nowadays different. I heard from my student, he said, got one friend, the mother beat the children, and children fight back, slap back the parents. I think, it's too much. You're the children, no matter how much, show some respect. Like our time, get scolded by the mother and father, we also say, yes. We just follow, obedient. Nowadays, they scold you back. Even they call the police, come and arrest you. Father and mother. So now, that's why they say treat children like just like friendship. Not you're my children. So they bring close the relationship, something like that. They don't treat it you're my children. You are just my friend. My friend, 朋友. Okay. Now, so when insulted, if someone were to shout back, right, with an even louder voice, with an angry expression on that person's face, not resemble a blazing fire. So sometimes people, you don't scold back, or you show your hot temper, when people, scold you or whatever, you just go away, if you keep on arguing, there's no ending one, because the fire burning already, right? So you keep on crash, so the thing will just burst, okay? So there's an old Buddhist saying, the fire of anger can burn out a forest of merit, 火烧功德林, as I told you just now. Wherever you accumulated the merit, everything gone. Go to zero. Just because of your anger, your hot temper. I can recall when I studied primary school when I was young, my mathematics teachers, I think that time I saw her about 40-something, 50-something years old. And every time, because he teach halfway, the children come. They're asking for money. And she was so angry. So don't know how to show the anger. So we are the one to, tell her show the anger, to scold you, then use your head to hit against the wall. That's why I say I become Botak monk. You just hit against the wall. Show the hot temper. And if you show the hot temper, I heard eventually cause a high blood pressure, 高血压. and after a few years, it passed away. So, right? So, must control your temper, very important. Now, so, only when the fires of anger, as mother, can be, we appreciate things like reason and human emotion that come from the mind and that is calm and tranquil. Okay? So, of course, according to Buddhism, practice meditation. Right? Meditation will help you, besides for your health, blood circulation, but you calm down, make sure your mind is more focusing, not due to the scattered mind. But the yoga, now yoga is actually very common in India, right? But yoga is, they do have meditation, but nothing to do with Buddhism. Even meditation also practiced by Catholic. Catholic they practice meditation, but the method is different. So the purpose of Buddhism, the Buddhist meditation is to achieve concentrated mind. So with this concentration can generate wisdom through contemplation. That's according to Buddhism. But to them, it's just like exercise, yoga. They use controlled breathing, count 1 to 10, calm down for blood circulation, for health. So this yoga, nothing to do with religion. And you can go to yoga school, whatever, right? It's very common, they practice in India. The Prime Minister Modi, sometimes I saw the newspaper, so many people gather, assemble in the big space, and then they start to do some yoga exercise. But nothing to do with Buddhism. Okay, so suppose someone were to criticize you and you became angry. If a person is a person of integrity and good character is criticizing your behavior, then you are likely in the wrong. Correct or not? If people criticize you or scold you for nothing, you think they just get scolded for nothing, and the person he got something wrong, then of course you may sometimes be angry or whatever. But if the person is a nice person, when they tell you something wrong, then you have to think about it, then see whether you've done something wrong, then accept it. Like according to Master Sun Yan, when you encounter the problem, face it, accept it, solve it, let go. But you want people to admit their mistake. Very difficult, Nobody want to admit the mistake one. Correct, our friend? Nobody want to admit your mistake one. Well, you try to push around this and that because you think the face very important, reputation. So if you don't accept the mistake, then it's very difficult for improvement in future. Well, okay, next page. Now, next paragraph. So most people understand this in principle. Okay? But we will find it hard to practice. Know is one thing, but practicing is another story. Right now, knowing, it's not difficult, but you want to do it, it's very difficult. Right? Now, but we still find it hard to practice even the minor affair of daily life, like someone gossiping, at our expense. Right? Gossiping 八卦, especially the office politics or whatever. Some people talk about something bad about you, something like that. And this sort of thing, sometimes you cannot prevent one. Cannot be prevented. So, very annoying. So, enough to stir the mind within anger. Of course, you heard it, you find it very angry, the kind of things or whatever. So, once the flames of fire are unleashed, okay, so we might just destroy even the things we hold dear. So indeed, the human mind is truly like the burning house of the Lotus Sutra. According to Lotus Sutra, there's an analogy there. So when we don't get what we want, the flames of anger and hatred blaze because of the fiery desire of human heart. Right? Because of a very strong desire. The inability to do so, to do as we wish, is common in this world, and the only way we will be able to extinguish the fires within the mind is to douse them with the water of wisdom. Right? How to extinguish the fire? Of course, the normal way, we just extinguish by the water. Right? To extinguish the fire. But this one, how to extinguish the kind of hot temper? Wisdom. The water of wisdom. If you have a wisdom, you think, hey, I shouldn't show the anger. This is no good for myself. It's no good for other people as well. So you calm down a little bit because you have a concentrated mind. You practice meditation. So you think about it before we do it. So you have that kind of flick of second, you can think, then before you stop it. But due to normal people, they don't have a flick of second to think about it. They just do it, then they regret later. Okay? And this is called wisdom. This is called wisdom. So you need a meditation. In Buddhism, talk about 3 studies, right? What are the 3 studies? Precepts, concentration, wisdom. Okay? So I told you before, just like you draw the triangle. Okay, this is precept, concentration, wisdom, and this is emptiness. So this is among 3 of them, the relationship. And of course, this individual contributed to wisdom mental issue. But you need 2 pillar support in order to generate wisdom. Okay? Precept in terms of rules and regulation, moral issue, ethic, And this is in terms of meditation, how to achieve the concentrated mind. Okay, see the next page, the rest is see by yourself. Page 55. Not only is Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva a manifestation of great compassion. As I told you, compassion, 慈悲, means beyond love. Right? Love associated with the no self, no attachment, detachment, and detached from yourself as well as the external object. Okay, so this compassion. Regardless, like according to Singapore National Anthem, regardless of race, language, and religion. So go beyond that. So we welcome the friend from Brisbane. We welcome you. In terms of race, language, and religion, all under one family. And this is the kind of Singapore talk about harmony and unique in Singapore, and whereby other countries very difficult to follow. You see other countries, if you read the newspaper, racist, the kind of thing, and so on and so forth. And very serious. In Singapore, not just a flip one moment, then become harmony. It's actually, they practice it, they implemented it long time ago by our founding father, Lee Kuan Yew. Right? If you know the history, if you don't know, ask the brother, probably he also don't know. Why you laugh at that? Because a lot of people don't know the history though. I tell one thing, similarly in Buddhism, you say, I'm very realistic, I just want the Dharma medicine to cure my illness in terms of hot temper, in terms of whatever. Now, if you don't have the roots as a foundation, this is talking in terms of history. History just gives you a foundation, If you don't have this strong foundation, don't tell about typhoon, have a wind just blow, it's just shaky already, wavering. Okay? So you have to know the history as well. But unfortunately here, you don't have this curriculum, have a proper course to study history in Buddhism in China or in India or in Tibet. If you know the history, then you know what's going on. That will help you to judge whether he's a bogus monk, bogus nun. So don't get cheated by them just because they're shaving their hair. But people judge on the look. You judge on the look. They say, you wear this one, you're the Buddha, but in fact, he's not a Buddha. And this recently happened in China. A newspaper came out as well. Do you know what's happening? Shaolin Temple. Our friend knows Shaolin Temple? Okay, we talk about this one. I tell you, my lecture is a lot of things, cover a lot. And due to the time constraint, I feel sorry to tell you that we don't have time to do it. Probably after the talk, we have a cup of tea, there I will tell you more. So, when the fire of anger are about to burn our body and mind, or our mind and body, if we single-mindedly call the name of this Bodhisattva, we will be spared from such a fiery calamity. That means you show the confidence of this Guan Yin Pusa. The confidence very important. 信心就是力量 will give you the strength, the power. Just like you believe in God, you know God will bless you. Right? You may have a strong belief in something. So when you talk about religion, belief is to all the religion. And this is the first step. If you don't believe, that's all. Don't talk about the teaching or whatever. Because this is the first step. Correct? No? It's just like the couple during the courting time. If you don't love each other, then how to marry? Then don't talk about marriage already. Right? You must love each other. Then it's just like you love to come here for the Dharma talk. Yes, this is the first step. You must enter the classroom. You really want to come here. Nobody forcing you. You come here, sit down, enjoy with the aircon. And today very good, cloudy, and just focus on the talk. Correct or not, brother? Then go to Orchard to have a nice lunch. Or why the wife waiting for him to cook for him? Okay, so this is fire. Okay, so there's an external, internal in terms of the temple. And the next one, the calamity of flood. You see the now weather very extreme, although hot weather. And happened in China recently, Yunnan or whatever, the Beijing Beijing also caused get flooded also. Right, all of a sudden storm, rainstorm or something like that. So it caused the kind of flood. And talking about the flood, Singapore have a very good drainage system. And this one you need to have already invest a lot of money and time. And Singapore government, you want to do it. But you look at the neighbor country or whatever, they don't want to do, because they say, oh, this kind of flood, get flooded very rare, very chances very slim. Once a year, whatever, but once a year cause a lot of problem. And you spend the time and problem going to solve the thing, rather than you going to have an investment to improve the infrastructure, the drainage system. Although it should happen once a year, and this was Singapore government do. Sorry, I'm not PAB, I'm not provoke for them, no commission. But this actually can see to your naked eye. Correct? No? But a lot of people like to complain. I don't know why else they want to, just nothing to do. And Singapore is already pampered by the government, You give me $1,000, I want 2,000, They never feel contented one. This time we give you CDC voucher $600. Next time we say 600, not enough. Can you give me 800? Okay, I'll give you 800. Not enough. Can you give me 1,000? You will never stop. Right? So you never feel contented. 人心不足蛇吞象, in Chinese. And this is the desire, triggered by the desire, strong desire. Okay, we see the verse. If anyone carried away by a flood were to call his name, and that person will immediately reach a shallow place. That depends on your karma. Of course, Guan Pusa can use the power to help you, but if your karma had to face a kind of retribution, and sometimes you have to get it, just like Ananda, if you know the history, it's just like Guan Pusa can minimize the thing happen to you. But if this is a karma, you have to face the retribution, then you have to face it. But just like you can cut down, minimize the seriousness. So this flood in terms of course, not just really flood, just like fire, just like fire in terms of hot temper. Okay, now this in terms of desire. Okay, turn to the next page. So this is the second of 7 calamities, the calamity of flood. From a psychological perspective, we are swept into the sea of life and death, where we float around aimlessly. Now, some people don't know how to swim, then of course you are scared to see the sea, or travel by the ship or cruise. While you look at the sea, you're going to get fainted, right? Now, so, craving life and dreading death, and this is the human condition. We are prone to being led astray into the water of desire. Okay, as this is an analogy, right? Just like desire, give you account. This water, a desire. Now, desire, of course, in Buddhism, there's a good and bad desire. There's 2 types. Now you come here for the talk. If you don't have a desire, you'll be coming here for the talk, to attend the talk, right? So this is also called desire, but this is a good desire. The bad desire in terms of doing the bad things. Vaping, whatever, stealing. But having said that, you have a desire to come here for the talk, but this is also considered attachment. It's considered attachment. Imperfect. It's good, but not enough. Not good enough. So eventually you have to go beyond that. Okay? You go beyond that. And this is considered the perfect one. Okay? Now, this is a human condition. So prone to this one, human being, sinking deeper and deeper. So there's no telling how many people have brought shame and disgrace upon themselves because they are tempted by the desire. So according to the sutra in the 42 section state, Chinese called 42章经, but some people say this is not a true sutra spoken by the Buddha. But anyway, academic, they still have some controversial issue about this one, but we don't care because we only talk about academic. But in fact, this is considered quite an earlier sutra, right, in China, in Chinese Buddhism. 42章经 in Chinese. Okay, you see how he quoted here? People who harbor love and desire do not perceive the way. They are like clear water that has been stirred up by the hand. So many people gather around it. None will see their reflection in it. People who become entangled with love and desire stir up impurity within the mind, and so fail to perceive the way. You practitioner should abandon love and desire. Once the impurity of love and desire has been cleared away, then one will be able to perceive the way. This is the Buddha way, of course. So what makes people ignorant and murdered are love and desire. Of course, love in terms of kind of male and female, they kind of, because have an impurity kind of things, of course this is considered imperfect. Now, in Christianity, they talk about God love us. They use the word love. So God, love, according to Buddhism, considered imperfect. But we talk about compassion. Compassion is beyond love. Love is in this relative role. Love and hate, these are in contrast. But compassion is beyond these two, regardless of whatever. No self, practice no self. So God still have a self. God himself, I love you. But if you are not Christian, I probably don't love you. I hate you. Correct? But in Buddhism, regardless you are Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Buddhist, Taoist, all love you. Buddhism love everybody. Okay? So that is the main difference. I'm not criticizing. I'm just telling you this is the truth. I'm talking about the true fact. Okay? Okay, for ages, countless people have been led astray by love and desire. But as I say, desire, there are two types, right? Bad desire and good desire. Doesn't mean that desire is all bad, right? Just like you come here also consider desire. So this is a good desire. Right? So many have been unable to make any progress because of these two emotions. Talking about emotion, human beings are very emotional, especially for female. Yesterday I told one of my students, in terms of religion, not only Buddhism, in terms of religion, other religion as well, if you observe carefully, you can see that female more than male, right now, all the religion, whether Christianity, Catholic, Muslim, or Taoism or Buddhism, right? Female more than male. If you don't believe, take this class as an example. You see, you tell me how many, don't say how many female, how many male guy. Can be counted one. 2/3 are female. Even less than 1/3 are male. Right? So, you talk about religion, it's very emotional one. Emotion something to do with the female. So, in comparison, female doesn't mean that male are very intellectual. Female are more emotional. So easily cheated by somebody, she knocking the head away. And some people start to regret, why I'm married to you? So hot temper, so horrible character, always beat by you, torture me until I cannot stand already, go to court and and sue you, and file in for divorce. So this cannot be prevented. Of course, if you know the Dharma, more intellectual, you know what is middle path, so your mind are more clear. Right? You know that how to judge and differentiate. You're not easily cheated by the other party. Please marry, I love you so much. Wait. He said, let me check. So before I think about whether I want to decide to marry to you. So this is called wisdom already. You know how to think back, think carefully before you make up your final decision. Our friend. Right? It's true. So, Now, so this is called emotion. But of course, emotion in Buddhism, this one, you practice the Dharma, you can easily, try to, calm down or prevent it. So while some have been destroyed, their life and family, where do love and desire come from? We know that anger arises from unhappiness. Conversely, love and desire arises from happiness, the other way around. Okay? You say one example is a person who acts irrationally for a boyfriend or girlfriend whom they love deeply. Such an individual brushes aside the opinions of parents and pleas of friends. Next page. So many young men and women ignore their careers and disregarded their futures for the sake of love. Okay? Okay, see this page, the center page, another 2 more paragraphs. If in these times we think of this Avakisavala Bodhisattva, universal compassion, and discard our own greed and longing, so then our mind can become as clear as a mirror. Now this mirror is just a Dharma mirror, 法镜, 佛法的镜. It's not a normal mirror to show you whether how many pimples this and that, right? But this mirror to reflect our kind of fall, the kind of bad character and so on and so forth, right? So this is called Dharma mirror, alright? 法镜, 佛法的镜子. Now here talking about the greed. Now, as I say earlier, this happened in Shaolin Temple. So I believe now the Chinese government coming already because all the money things and administration is supposed to be handled by the lay people better. Right? And the monk or nuns as an abbot or whatever, try not to interact too much with the lay people too much, especially the female. Okay, so that not 100% solution, but that can prevent a little bit. But most importantly, he himself, the collector, that's very important. But sometimes people due to the temptation or whatever, they start to change. Initially it's okay, but later on they start to change everything. So as a lay people, better be careful. Do anyhow practice giving, especially giving in terms of money. Right? People, monks now, they are just a human being. They have a desire. Doesn't mean that they are perfect. So you won't be easily cheated by them. So very, very careful. Wisdom, you know how to practice giving. If you know the Dharma, you know. In connection with 3 wills. Right? If you study the way to Buddhahood, attended the Dharma class before, right? The giver, receiver, and the things you give must be in connection with emptiness. No self. Right? This is called the perfect way of giving. Okay, can you turn to the next page? Page 58. And the next one, the calamity of windstorm. Wind. Of course, wind is an external or environment. Can be in terms of typhoon. During this period, we call it summer period, hot season. You see the region of Philippines, the ocean, due to the ocean near the America. You see the Japan, Taiwan, South Korea. During this period, they have kind of a typhoon. All right. But now typhoon is not clearly stated, must be exactly from June to September, something like that. But things change. Even end of the year, December, they may occur, right? The typhoon. So China very lucky because China was blocked by Japan. If you see the geometrical, the map, you see the map, Japan, South Korea, right? Taiwan, Philippines. So the typhoon, they'll come from the ocean. So when the typhoon come, they were blocked by all these country islands. So when they blow to China, inland of China, cut down already, won't be so strong already. So China very lucky. And Singapore here. You say Singapore very safe, no typhoon, but who know? Because typhoon no eye one, You just anyhow blow one. You say, oh, I like Singapore, come. Then they come. Okay. You say Singapore no winter, who know? So your winter clothes don't throw away. Next time you come for Dharma talk, you need to wear the winter clothes. Because the weather is very extreme. Who knows? It's true, no? I'm not telling the joke, Anything can happen. It's unpredictable. I told you already. Unpredictable. Especially with the Trump, President of America, even unpredictable. You think he will win the war of tariff? To know. At the moment, yes. Answer is yes. For the long term, we don't know. Because Buddhism talk about impermanent. Correct now? Okay, see the verse here. If they are living, talk about wisdom. Can you take a look on the PowerPoint here? Wisdom. 智慧,智慧. So in Buddhism, wisdom is more than just knowledge. Buddhism is beyond knowledge. The difference is knowledge in terms of mundane knowledge. You can have a very good knowledge in computer science, engineering, and so on and so forth. But wisdom is beyond that. Because knowledge is all about mundane knowledge, worldly knowledge, worldly dharma. But wisdom is world transcending dharma, 出世间法. So it's go beyond that. Okay? And the wisdom is constrained by time and space. 受时空限制. And wisdom is beyond time and space. So that's the difference between the two. Anyway, in Buddhism, wisdom is more than just a knowledge. But of course, you come here to gain the Dharma knowledge. So with the knowledge, you still have an affliction. You still don't have a pure mind. Right? You still have a lot of problems because it's just a knowledge. So you come here is to gain the knowledge. It's not wisdom, Now you're sitting here to know the Dharma. You cannot consider it as a wisdom. It's just a knowledge. It's until you practice it, realize it in our daily life, and this is the wisdom. Okay? Now, so it is a deep understanding of the true nature of reality. The true nature of reality is emptiness. Like we talk about the true nature of reality of this computer is emptiness. Why? Because this computer, the nature of computer is empty. Because of empty, computers depend on causes and conditions. So therefore, computer, in this case, are impermanent. They are impermanent. 无常. So impermanent, subject to changes. Impermanent cause suffering. Okay? So, the true, if you can see the emptiness, true nature of reality, transcending ordinary comprehension. So it is a realization that can be cultivated through practice and insight. Insight in this case, just like wisdom. So if you don't practice it, you just know the Dharma, this is just a knowledge. So the problem is still there. A problem cannot be solved until we practice it. And this is how we generate the wisdom. Okay? Now, so practice and insight leading to liberation from suffering. Okay? Then we can attain liberation. Okay, next. Can you see the textbook? So if there are living beings in the hundreds of millions of billions who go out to sea in search of such treasures as gold, silver, rupees, these are the 7 jewels, 七宝, okay, mother of pearl, and so on and so forth, and pearls. And if a fierce storm were to blow their ship off, right, of course, to make landfall in the territory of Rasa, we call it Losa. Okay, this is one of the 6 kind of dragon beside dragon, and this eventually they became Dharma protector. Of course, you can see the behind one, probably they have an explanation. And further, so if among them, there's even one person who called the name of Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Guan Pusa, then all of those people will be liberated, right, from the torment of the rasa. So this is why Bodhisattva is named observing the sounds of the world, right? If you want to seeking the help from the Bodhisattva, Guan Pusa, you just call his name. It must be the same frequency, right? Then of course, Guan Pusa will hear your voice, then they will come and help us, something like that. That's why I call observing the sounds of the world, 观世间音声 in Chinese. Okay, see the explanation below. Now, this passage covers the third of the 7 calamities, the calamity of windstorm. So, which is also sometimes called the calamity of rasa. This is in Sanskrit. Rasa is a Sanskrit word which refers to a specific type of malevolent, right? Supernatural being that eats human, 假人的一种鬼, right? And this is called rasa. Okay, rasa. 夜叉, Chinese called 夜叉, if you know Chinese. So the expression used for ship in this passage, 船帆. Okay, 汉语拼音, you see the bracket, Chinese word, specifically refers to a lavish book. Just like nowadays we call cruise, very luxury, enjoy, got swimming pool, got shopping center, got restaurant, everything. Why I know, I read the newspaper and never been traveled by cruise. 我没有做过 I don't know, right? Singapore, a lot of country come here, they probably have kind of experience. Now, we do house resembling a catamaran, okay? 双人船体船 whatever in Chinese. So this serves as a metaphor for how the human being is a union of mind, as I said earlier, mind and body, combination of these two, human being, right? Combination of body and mind. So the treasure mentioned in this passage, right, are manifold, that means more, manifold, but they are all simply rare and variable things. Sometimes, considered very valuable in the world, and sometimes can't find it in the world. So the treasures mentioned in the sutra are specific precious materials. So they can also refer to a spiritual wealth. Spiritual wealth in terms of course, spiritual one, just like Dharma is a spiritual wealth, 法财, okay, one of the, the wealth. So 法财 in terms of Dharma, spiritual wealth, in Buddhism in terms of Dharma. So very, very precious, right? That's beyond materials. Spiritual beyond material. 超过物质. So spiritual wealth, of which there are 7 kinds, right? There are 7 kinds below. The number 1, the wealth of faith. Faith. That's why you must have a strong faith in Buddhism, in triple gems. Right? If you don't believe, if you don't trust Buddha or whatever, then, very difficult. Just like you have a strong belief in your next one, whether your husband or wife, that's why you decide to marry to him or her. Right? The trust. Really confident. So several Buddhist sutras mention the importance of faith. The treatise on the perfection of great wisdom, this is called 大智度论 in Chinese. Can you take a look? The PowerPoint? The treatise on the perfection of great wisdom, 大智度论. This is actually written by Nagarjuna. But anyway, this one, some Buddhist scholars, they don't recognize it. They thought this is a very controversial issue. But according to Master Yin Sun, they recognize it. This is truly written by Nagarjuna, right? Nagarjuna. Now, we talk about treatise is an explanation of the sutra, then we call treatise. Lun, right? It's not by the Buddha, right? It's the explanation by the, on the sutra, so that's why I call treatise, Lun. A comprehensive commentary on the great perfection of wisdom sutra, right? Traditionally attributed to Nagarjuna about around 150 to 250 AD, around 2nd century. Okay, just like that. So this treatise is also very important because they cover Theravada Buddhism as well as Mahayana Buddhism. So some people give it a nickname for this treatise. We call it a small encyclopedia. Small encyclopedia in Buddhism, right? Just like cover a lot of things, everything, almost all. Now, so according to this one state, only faith allow ones to enter the great ocean of the Dharma. It's just like you have a strong belief, you have a strong faith in Buddhism, that's why you want to study Buddhism. That's why you want to become Buddhist. So this is the first step. 第一步 initial stage. So the Flower Adornment Sutra, this is called 华严经 in Chinese. The Flower Adornment Sutra. Again, this is beside Lotus Sutra, very important. This one also another important sutra in Mahayana Buddhism. Okay? We call it the Flower Adornment Sutra. Chinese called 华严经. Faith is the mother of merit, leading to the source of enlightenment. Right? Leading to the source of enlightenment. That's why you need faith. You have a strong faith in Buddhism, then you will study Buddhism, you will become Buddhist, then you practice the Dharma, then eventually you can enter the Buddhahood. Okay, no? So, faith is the first one, number 1. Very important. So if someone trying to learn Buddhism, lack devout faith, that's why if without faith, so they cannot possibly enter the Dharma, because just like you don't believe in Buddhism, then very difficult for you to step in. Then you don't step into the classroom, you don't know the Dharma, you don't know the Buddha teaching, you don't know the teaching of the Sutra. Right? If you have a strong faith, if you are interested to know the Dharma, then you step in. Nobody forcing you. You just, hello, welcome brother and sister to the Dharma talk. Then you come in, sit down, whatever. Then you start to sit down, listen attentively to the talk. Then this is how you get the Dharma knowledge. Okay? Now, so if they have doubt instead of faith, they will experience worry and distress and lose sight, right, of the path they should be practicing. Now, of course, if reasonable kind of doubt, you can question it. So Buddhism is a very democratic one because you can raise a question and to question it, just like the disciple of the Buddha during that time questioned the Buddha will try to answer. Okay? But some religion, you cannot question the God. You have to believe. Even if you question, they cannot answer you. Very difficult. Quite not. Something like that. So Buddhism is very open one. Buddhism is very broad. Buddhism not only just philosophy. It's a psychology, it's a history, it's a philosophy, it's a religion. Everything. Everything. So you can ask any question and the Buddha can answer you. Without hesitation. No problem. Okay, so some scholars, they will consider Buddhism is not a religion. The Buddhist scholar, just like in the West, I studied there, they say, no, Buddhism is not a religion. Buddhism is a philosophy. It's true, Buddhism is a philosophy, but not just a philosophy, Buddhism as well as a religion as well. It's a religion. Of course, the first thing is how you're going to define the word religion. It depends on you. If you define the religion must be a God, just like go to Cambridge Dictionary or Oxford Dictionary, they stated there there must be a God. In the West, it's called religion. But if you say there must be a God, then Buddhism is not religion because Buddhism is not a God. Buddhism, it was an enlightened being. It's a Buddha. Probably you can say Buddha is a God beyond God. According to Buddhism. But of course they are not happy. God beyond God. But anyway. Now, so this is the well of faith. So the faith, very important, right? You must have a strong faith. Next one, going to time's out, right? The well of diligence, effort, or sometimes use effort, 精进, diligent, very hardworking. Okay? And hardworking very important, regardless whether you cultivate the Dharma or you are working or you're studying, you must bring a lot of effort, time and effort, then you will achieve something. So diligence means endeavoring to improve the vigorous effort. If we do not understand the value of diligence, even the best religion will have nothing to offer us. Just like you say, oh, Dharma is very good, very nice, but if you don't put in the effort, time and effort to come and study, to explore further, to discover the thing, then religion is to you is not effective. Right? Okay, so it's nothing to offer us. So there's an old Chinese saying, there's something gained with each drop of sweat. Okay, so bit by bit. Just like come here, one time we come here for 1.5 hours, or in the alternate Sunday, you just imagine, bit by bit, then you accumulated, become mountain already. So you don't just overlook it, say, nothing, unless you ready something on, then I cannot come for the Dharma talk, then it's okay. But you purposely don't come, then you're the one to, you're lost something, quite not. Just our brother last lesson don't come, I believe probably go back to Australia, who knows? Quite not. Oh, probably he got something on. Yeah, you know his hair already. So without diligence, so we cannot experience a real flavor of the Dharma. So diligence, not only just learning the Dharma, in fact you are working everything, you do everything, must put your effort, time and effort. You definitely can achieve something. Okay? Now, so I think today we stop here. Time's out already. So anything to ask? So our next lecture will be on 17th, right? 17th of August, in 2 weeks' time, after National Day, our National Day. Okay, if not, please hold the palm and follow me. Shall we do a dedication? May all the merits thus accumulated be dedicated to all sentient beings. May all sentient beings and I together attain Buddhahood. Please stand up. Please hold the palm. One palm to the Buddha. Okay, see you all. Enjoy your lunch. Okay, enjoy your lunch.